You want a sign that curiosity is a hot topic to explore and incorporate in your daily life? Well, two of the most influential voices in leadership and human behavior just launched an entire show, a podcast, around the idea that certainty might be overrated. And asking questions and getting really curious is a great skill to hone. Welcome to part 2 of this 4-part series on curiosity, a human intelligence skill that you can and should hone right now in order to become unmachined. That's what we call those differentiated leaders with skills that no algorithm can replicate. In these mini but mighty leadership lessons, we publish a weekly episode to help you level up personally and professionally. Now, I only came across this new podcast as I was doing research for a workshop on curiosity. And that's when I discovered that Brené Brown and Adam Grant launched The Curiosity Shop, their new podcast, in March of 2026. They are making a case for us all to slow down, ask more and better questions, and seek to understand more about the information that's put in front of us. Now more than ever, there are really easy answers or obvious answers, truncated answers that are being served up to us as part of quick searches or prompts that we put into AI, or as part of these really quick blasts of information that come to us from social media. And part of their positioning really strikes me as interesting is that when public conversation, when our discourse is really rewarding black and white certainty, there's no other possibility. The alternative is we shut down, we stop thinking, we get really siloed in our thinking, and we don't explore other points of view and perspectives. So in some ways, they're suggesting that we can become more curious about things, that we can create or recreate climates where it's okay to explore ideas, to really sit and question what our own beliefs are, and to not necessarily always have to be so fixed and so certain in our points of view. The Curiosity Shop seems to be a podcast that's intent on really helping us think through and think beyond the obvious answer. I went out and listened to the first episode, and it's frankly a boondoggle conversation. It goes all over the place. I actually walked away with about 2 pages of notes on a lot of different topics, not necessarily the topic of curiosity or fixed mindset. They were talking about things like about repairs in repairing relationships and the best way to apologize. They even reminded me about a concept that I learned in my sales leadership days about how when we do favors for people, it tends to make them like us more and often feel like they should reciprocate. Now, listen, I would love for you to explore that concept and any of the other concepts further, but please don't leave this episode thinking that I'm suggesting we should go out and do things for other people in order for them to like us more or do things back for us. In fact, I highly encourage each of us to do things for others without any expectations in mind. Anyway, Adam Grant explores some of these thoughts in his book, Think Again, where he often talks about rethinking or unlearning what we think about things can be more valuable to us than just continuously accumulating new knowledge, where if we allow curiosity, it helps us grow and evolve. The smartest people are often not the ones who have all the answers, but the ones who ask more questions, who are genuinely interested in exploring their own perspectives as well as the perspectives of others. Now, it's worth noting because negotiation is a key leadership skill. And some of our best negotiators ask really good questions. They get curious. They try to understand other people's perspectives. And when you are willing to explore other perspectives, you hold a stronger negotiating position and you're more likely to get collaborative alliance within the workplace. What Adam Grant calls certainty is where a lot of our relationships right now are stalling. When we are so individually entrenched in our ideals that we feel threatened and we can't allow ourselves to explore someone else's perspective, that really limits our ability to connect with others as well as to step past our current operating at work. If you go back to part 1 where we talked about Nokia and how it basically fell from a leading position in the marketplace, one of the contributing factors to that was they had established a standard, set a direction, and basically refused to challenge or consider alternatives, to look at the data they had that point in different directions and to ask questions about what if we do things differently? What if this new market is changing things more dynamically than we realized? To just consider instead of setting a direction and never moving from that position. When we engage in civil debate, conversation with individuals that often can get a little bit tense, can feel uncomfortable, but when we do that in a civil way and we ask for alternative perspectives, we're able to create greater collaboration and trust on our teams. Even when we go in a direction that some people that are part of that debate don't agree with, the fact that you've allowed the opportunity to discuss, to explore perspectives, to share a particular opinion or point of view, oftentimes makes more people more willing to go along with the final decision that's been made. We're basically looking at, as we talk about quite a bit at Boss at the Helm, you're looking to explore ideas, not identities, not the people and personalities who bring those ideas, but explore ideas. Adam Grant describes 3 modes where people operate when their beliefs are being challenged. One is prosecutor mode, where people are trying to prove the other person wrong. Another is politician mode, where we're saying whatever we think is going to get approved in that environment or by the status and power owners in that environment. And a third option is scientist mode, where you treat your own ideas as a hypothesis worth testing. And you do it to others as well. You listen to their points of view, you explore questions with curiosity, you don't accept what they say just because of who they are, nor do you immediately cut off or shut down what they say. You explore it. You treat them as hypotheses and try to gather data to see whether you can prove the hypothesis. An unmachined leader and their teams operate in scientist mode. We explore ideas, not identities. We get curious and we allow curiosity to foster opportunity, innovation, and trust within our team environment. We shift away from and avoid prosecutor and politician mode and practice more of the scientist mode. Now, it may also be interesting for you to know that apparently Brené Brown and Adam Grant had a bit of a professional beef some years back. I was oblivious to all of this, but they cover it extensively in the first episode of The Curiosity Shop. And the reason that this is important is not for the gossip of it, but it's because this happens to all of us all the time in work and life. We perceive somebody has malicious intent towards us. We get defensive and angry, and we refuse to explore or to even engage with those people. We waste a lot of time on what ifs, or I can't believe, or I thought, or I assumed. It's only when we allow ourselves to get curious and to engage civilly and explore perspectives that we begin to learn that maybe we had the wrong filter or the wrong understanding, that maybe they did get something wrong, but their intention wasn't malicious. And collectively, we have so much more to offer to each other and to the world around us when we are willing to be curious first instead of defensive. So the next time you're feeling pissed off, annoyed, misunderstood, maybe consider getting curious about what beliefs you bring to the table about this situation, about what the other parties may have intended, or about how each of you may have some limiting information or beliefs that are blocking your ability to connect with each other. You may end up retaining your righteous indignation and maybe go forward and change the whole world. Or you may find that you have a new friend, a new perspective, or a new approach to how you get things done. I hope you are beginning to intentionally take aim at exploring curiosity and inviting it into your work and your life. I'd like you to stay tuned for upcoming episodes about the demise of curiosity and the advent of AI and what you can do to cultivate curiosity, both personally and within your team and at work. And if you're watching this as an executive and you're wondering how to bring this to a full company of managers, you should know that we cover this and much more in our Helm Leadership Essentials. So I invite you to go out to bossatthehelm.com and connect with me, aka Helm, so we can explore more of this together. Join us here next Friday, where we're going to look at the demise of curiosity in the era of AI. Start with yourself, lead yourself, and then lead others. Be a boss. By the way, now is a great time to tap like and subscribe to this channel. Set your notifications so that you're alerted every week when a new episode comes out. See you next Friday.